I'm here at the Filmfest Hamburg, and my guest today is Kate Beecroft, the writer and director of the film East of Wall. So before we dive deeper into your film, can you tell our viewers just in a few words what the film is about?
Yes, so it's a docufiction film, and it is about a woman named Tabitha, who's a rancher in the Badlands of South Dakota, and she is dealing with the grief of her husband who passed while providing refuge for a bunch of teenagers in her neighborhood, and she teaches them how to break and resell horses.
The film is based on real events, and some people in the story play themselves. We'll get to that later, but where and how did you find that story?
So really by chance. I really had no resume as a director, and so me and my cinematographer were just driving around the U.S., maybe trying to get something for like my reel as a director, because I had no resume, and I took a wrong turn somewhere in South Dakota, and a woman said, if you want a really amazing story, head east of Wall and try to find a woman named Tabitha. And so that's what we did, and I spent 3 years living with this family before even making the movie, just so I could, learn everything I could about their way of life and their culture.
In the film, Tabitha Zimiga, I think it's
Tabitha
Zimiga, and her daughter Portia, they play themselves without any acting background, and they do it so well. So I really want to know, how did you get that performance out of them?
Yeah, I'm impressed with because 98% of the cast is all playing themselves, first-time actors. So my background is acting. And I think that's just probably my strength as a director is knowing how to work with actors, and I love working with first-time actors, but I think it's because I lived there for so long with them, it's a trust, and when I wrote the script, it's written to their strengths and things that I know that they could do. We just did a bunch of kind of like acting lessons, and I really I wanted to figure out how to work with them, and by understanding that, I need to understand who they are as people, so we could have emotional conversations that I could bring up, that I could whisper in their ear to bring out an emotional response from them in the film or whatnot. But they're so professional. I was really blown away. Yeah.
I can see why you've done the film this way, and I love the approach. But was there ever, at some point, at least a small thought to do it either as a documentary or completely with professional actors?
Yeah, I really love the mashup of when you have first-time actors or non-professional actors with experienced actors. I always find that just fascinating. Everything from like American Honey to the film Rabbit Proof Fence, films like that I just find interesting. So that's kind of my taste. But I think that if I did this as a doc, I think it would be a disservice to them as artists. So I had no interest in making it a doc. And yeah, of course, in a perfect world, because they're such strong, amazing characters that people did say to me at one point, you could get a lot of money to make this film if you cast blah, blah, blah as these roles. But I'm like, yeah, but I have no interest in doing that either, because there's no faking what they're doing, You can't, when you're a rancher, or when you grew up doing manual labor, if you grew up on a horse, that's in your body, and yeah, they're doing their own stunts the whole time. It's, I wanted it to it had to be them, or I wouldn't do it.
You just said you lived there for 3 years. How did that happen?
Because I'm insane. I look back on it, I'm like, whoa, that was crazy. I was just in a place where I didn't, I wasn't no one was gonna all of a sudden call me and have me direct a feature. No one knew my name. I had no resume. So I just became addicted to them. I just loved them so much. And to this day, Tabitha's my greatest friend in my life. I speak to her every day, and same with Portia. And yeah, I knew that if I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. I've only ever lived in major cities in my life, and I'm not from this world. And in order for me to do a film about them, I knew I had to really understand the community and understand their way of life. So yeah, I mean, I just became like their ranch hand for 3 years, just, going to branding seasons with them, rodeos, doing things around the ranch. Yeah, and it was because I needed to make it feel very authentically them, which means that they had to train me while I was training them,
That's amazing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the character played by Scoot McNairy is fictional.
Yes.
But is it based on someone real?
So that character, yeah, I mean, he's inspired by so many men that I had met there, but really he was a screenwriting tool for me, because I wanted someone who represented the Old West and the Old West mentality and way of thinking, and kind of the white masculine in that sense. And I wanted her storyline, which is the New West and how modern she is, and just being a woman, the crossroads and the tension between that. So yeah, it was more of a screenwriting tool.
And how and where did you find Jennifer Eel and Scoot McNairy?
So with Jennifer, I really wanted someone who has a background in theater, because it is an ensemble, and I wanted someone who understands an ensemble piece, and I wanted actors who I know are there for the story, and they're there because they're not the leads, like they're not Tabitha, So someone who's really going to and it's also a very unique way of filming, and it's it's not luxurious. We're on a ranch and with no resources, so you had to pick the people who were coming in very consciously. So I knew I wanted Jennifer Ely, and then for Scoot's character, I had a list from our casting director, and I called one of my mentors and executive producer on the film, Scott Frank, and he had worked with Scoot on Godless, the television show on Netflix, and I was reading the list and naming all these names, and he just said, "Stop right there. Scoot McNairy is your person." And I was like, okay. And yeah, it's like, I can't imagine going with anyone else,
I read that after you lived with them, you wrote the script in just one day. Is that true?
Yeah, so I blacked out. I was so nervous. I'd never written, a full-length feature before, especially with it being about somebody's life. It's like giving, a love letter, right? To someone, I've been studying you for all these years, and here you go. Please don't hate me. And so I pushed it off and pushed it off and pushed it off because I was so nervous. And then I don't even remember writing it, fully just blacked out. And it all just came out of me because it's all been living inside of me for years, I've been kind of writing in my head the whole time. Yeah.
And do you remember the reaction from Tabitha when you gave her the first draft?
Yeah, I have it screenshotted, her reaction, and it was one of the most beautiful. Tabitha is so intelligent, and she's an amazing writer, and it was one of the most beautiful responses to this day. I get emotional even thinking about how beautiful and generous her response was.
And did you develop further versions of the screenplay with her?
Yeah, I mean, there are scenes where, I collaborated with Tabitha on everything. So I'd be like, all right, would you say this? She's like, I'd say something like this. But, but because I lived with them, I knew, I knew how to, what I was going to be writing about, and so there were certain things that, that I cut out in the edit, for example, though, and she's like, what? That was a cool scene, what, but yeah, I'm not a precious writer or director, so I'm not going to be like, no, this is how it's going to, this is the scene and we're not changing it. I wanted it to feel super collaborative because it's about their life, so it needs to feel like them.
when I watched the film, I've had a huge admiration of your work. So I've rarely seen a director tackling so many scary things at once in their debut, in a feature film debut. Teenagers, horses, dogs, kids, stunts, drones, live events, and whatever else. I know for sure that I would have been so anxious. So how did you manage to do all of that?
I think being naive, you know, but I think you have to be kind of naive and delusional, right, to like make any kind of film. It's crazy that films even get made, you know. And so for me, it was just, yeah, it was just really, it was that. I didn't know better. And so it was just like, all right, everything's already chaotic. Let's make it more chaotic. But yeah, but it's also, that's part of the magic. Like, it had to be, it's not a film that you can like really shot list or anything in that sense. Like, it needs to be verite, it needs to feel like them. And so it's kind of like, you're just going with the movement. And if things aren't working out, you just have to like, okay, what is this opportunity telling me now? Okay, I have to listen to that. You know, so you can't be too precious about things or hold on too tight, because you're going to miss the magic. And they're constantly giving me magic. But yeah, I was a complete wreck the whole entire time. You know, it's like, why is there a horse in the shot? Oh God, the dog's barking. You know, so it was constantly, you know.
But maybe that's the only way to do it, just to do it.
Yes.
Because I did another interview here at the festival with the Danish director Sinini Elkington about her film Second Victims, and she said, she told everyone beforehand, that don't be afraid of mistakes. We're all not perfect. And that took a lot of pressure off the team and the actors, as she said.
Yeah. You know, there was Sarah Polley is one of my favorite directors, and I listen to a lot of podcasts on her, and she said, ironically, the least experienced person on the set is the director. And I never really, I was like, what do you, and I was like, yeah, oh my God, yeah, because, you know, it takes years to direct a film with the pre-production, post-production, and then, you know, during that time, your DPs already can do 3 films during that time, you know, and so I think creating a team is super important. You know, people ask me when they're crewing up, you know, do you have any advice? And I'm like, get a team that is better than you. Throw your ego out of the way, because you guys all have to lean on each other, you know, and you know, film is so collaborative. It's like, I'm constantly, you know, I'd ask my DP questions or editor questions, and it's, you know, but that's the magic of it. It's like everybody you're just trying to make the best film possible, you know, and so it's a huge mistake if you think that, you know, as the director, you should know all, you don't take anyone else's advice, you know? So,
yeah, I think it's the right and maybe the only approach to that. As I read, you didn't show the film to Tabatha and her family before the premiere in Sundance, and you had a very good reason for that.
Yes. You know, what they did is incredibly brave, and they're you know, as powerful and amazing and confident as they are, they're very nervous. It's like, you know, it's a crazy thing that I asked them to do, and amazing that they said yes. But yeah, I wanted, the second we premiere at Sundance and the audience claps, her to feel that her story connected with other people. And that's what she was really nervous about. She was like, why are you making a film about me? I'm not interesting. No one's going to be able to relate to me or my story. No one's going to care. And so yeah, I wanted that moment for all the kids to go up in Tabatha, and it was very emotional. I think they were very overwhelmed and with just, oh my God, maybe I did something that people connect with. People want to hear my story. And so I wanted that moment for them, and to make them feel special, instead of them watching it on their TV at home and then have to go make dinner after, you know? I wanted them to be honored. Yeah.
Please tell her that I really connected, and it's a beautiful story, and it's so good that you put that on film.
Thank you. So, yeah, it's very, I mean, it's blowing her mind. You know, we just won it in a film festival in Italy a couple days ago, and she's like, it's crazy that you're in Germany, that you're going to Italy, all these places, and they're connecting with my story on the other side of the world. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of the power of filmmaking, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And East of Wall also won the Audience Award in Sundance.
Yes, won the Audience Award, yes.
And how was that experience?
Oh, I mean, incredible. It's kind of exactly what I what I said about her being really worried that people, weren't going to find her interesting or they're going to find her unrelatable because of the way she looks or the way she lives her life. And so to get that was huge. That was a win for Tabby. That was people want to hear stories like yours, and there are so many stories worth telling, and people need to go out and find them.
Yeah, I think we not only need more stories like that, we need more people like Tabatha who do these wonderful things. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So after many festival runs, for example, in Tribeca, Bentonville, or Nantucket, or as you just said, Italy, you're here at the Filmfest Hamburg, and for its German premiere. What are your hopes or expectations for tonight's screening?
I never go in with any expectations, but I love seeing. This is the first time I had some passport issues, so I had to miss a couple of. I missed all of our European film festivals, so I didn't get to be there in person. So when I got my passport, literally a couple of days before I came here, I was like, oh my God. Just being in an audience where the film is going to be subtitled, also is a completely different, culture than American culture, and so to me, I'm just excited to see how it translates, emotionally, and what people think of it here, because this is a very Americana film. Very, very just curious, curious what the questions are going to be and what people really get and relate to. So it's always just fun,
Yeah, I think so too. I believe that having a budget or having a limited time of shooting days is mostly good for a film, because at some points you have to get creatively challenged. But just hypothetically, would you have done anything different if you had, let's say, unlimited time, endless money, or would we still see the same film?
Never been asked that question. That's a good question. I think it would probably be the same film. Because I was thinking, okay, well, what about all those rodeo scenes? Would it have been nice to recreate those rodeo scenes so we had more time? But then I really wanted live events. So, that's a live rodeo we're shooting at. We had to, during tiny breaks, we'd go in and can I just get this shot for 2 minutes? And then, all right, fine, or same with the sale barns, because I wanted it to feel super authentic. And there's no way you can, recreate those kind of things. It would feel too sterile, and I wanted to feel super lived in. And even all the horses in the film, those aren't Hollywood stunt horses; those are all Tabby's horses. So I was thinking, oh God, would it have been nice to have really trained horses? But then I was like, no, because they connect to those animals. Those animals are part of the family, and so really, I don't think I would change anything. Maybe a couple extra shoot days. That's what I would do. A couple extra shoot days. Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything in the film. So let's wrap up our little lovely talk with a quick look into the future. What's coming next? Are there any projects on the horizon you can already talk about?
My next script is very different from East of All. It's not docufiction. I am a kind of a fantasy freak. My favorite films are Lord of the Rings, so it's so different from East of All. But I really love Greek mythology too. So my next film is just finished writing it. It's a modern myth set in an apocalyptic world. But it still has certain similar themes where with such a joy. I love writing for women of all ages, and so I get to do that again for this film, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it. So.
I am excited too. I'm looking forward to everything that's coming our way from you, and good luck with the film. Good luck with the premiere tonight, and it was really lovely meeting you.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you so much. Perfect.
Okay.